up on the water, and for others, well, this may be your first experience. Over the next few minutes, regardless of what day the calendar says it is, we want to make sure you're ready for your beach weekend. As much as none of us want to waste our day watching a safety video about how to drive a relatively slow pontoon boat, well, we just want to make sure you're ready for a safe and a fun day out on the water. Now, before we begin, please note that anyone born after January 1st, 1988 must have a Florida Boater safety card or certificate to drive or rent a pontoon. If that's you, please find the link to complete the certification in your confirmation email. Okay, so let's start off with no wake zones. These zones are marked by signs with an orange circle. They're not always obvious, so please look very carefully for the signs. Now, you don't want to get a ticket by the Coast Guard or FWC Patrol, but you will if you're boating unsafely by going over the idle speed in these zones. If you're headed towards Crab Island, you can increase your speed beyond idle once you pass these orange circle signs. But watch out, because there are additional no-wake zones that you'll need to keep an eye out for. So not only will you encounter them at Crab Island, but the entire Destin Harbor is a no-wake zone. So please do not exceed idle speed in these areas. We have shaded the no-wake zones in yellow on a map that we'll provide to you before your departure. Now, although our beach weekend pontoons are capable of going just about anywhere in the Destin-Fort Walton Beach area, there are still boundaries in which must be maintained. Simply put, you can't go into the Gulf of Mexico for any reason. Enjoy your day by traveling anywhere between the vicinity of the Mid-Bay Bridge to the east and the Navarre Bridge to the west. Unfortunately, the currents in our area actually can be very swift and dangerous, especially at Crab Island and Destin East Pass. And every year people drown, so never let children or anyone else jump into the water until adults on the boat have first assessed the depth of the water and the speed of the current. The deeper the water is, the more difficult it is to keep the current from sweeping you away. Adults should thoroughly assess the depth and current prior to any children entering the water. It is strongly recommended that anyone getting in the water wears a properly fitted life vest. Now here at Beach Weekend, we work hard to take care of our boats, so please do us a favor and keep your boat in the water, and be very careful to stay clear from shallow water when the boat is traveling. We've marked some of these shallow areas, but you'll need to specifically keep your eyes peeled for light-colored areas of the water. See, running the boat into shallow water, it can cause an abrupt stop with serious injury to the passengers on board, so make sure you're traveling at idle speed when near shallow water. And please note, any damage to the boat props will result in damage fees. Now, for all the kiddos and the stunt devils out there, we get it. This is gonna sound like we're ruining your beach weekend, but it's for your safety. Never ever dive or jump off the boat. Most of our beach weekend staff has been on these waters their entire lives, and it's very difficult to judge how shallow the water is. Every year, many people become seriously injured and even paralyzed by diving or jumping into shallow water. And if you see any changes in the weather, well, especially if you see a threat of severe weather, please return to the Beach Weekend Marina promptly. Now, it's always wise to check the weather on your cell phone from time to time, but if there isn't enough time to get to the marina before significant weather arrives, promptly take shelter under a bridge or other protected areas, if at all possible. Although you still must be cautious in no-wake zones in cases of extreme weather, you are exempt from compliance with no-wake zones. While the boat is traveling, all passengers should be seated within the metal cage with no gates open. The only time a passenger can open a gate and go outside of it is when the boat's not moving and the motor is shut off. There are serious penalties which can result in serious injury or even death for passengers standing up while cruising or riding outside of the gated area. Also, make sure that you do not try to exit or enter the boat without using the swim ladder. Always make sure that the swim ladder is pulled up before the boat starts traveling. Now, this brings us to the anchor. You will find that our anchors are already tied to the boat. No passenger should exit the boat until the anchor is firmly set and the motor is off. Make sure the anchor is pulled in and placed back onto the boat before you start the motor and begin traveling in the boat. Now, boat propellers, they're extremely dangerous and many people die from coming into contact with them each year. The motors on these boats are very quiet and sometimes you can't even hear them running. Always make sure that the key is turned off and that no passengers are anywhere around the back of the boat until you confirm the motor is completely shut off. Up next is life vests. There are life vests available on every Beach Weekend pontoon boat. Children ages 6 and under must wear a Coast Guard approved life vest at all times. A throw cushion is also kept on board and should be used to throw to anyone in distress. Now, let's talk about the boat throttle. The boat will not start unless it's in neutral. Once the boat is running, you can use the throttle to go forward and backwards. The further you push the throttle, the faster it goes in that direction. So make sure to always trim the motor if you decide to beach the boat. But remember that the motor must be trimmed back down into the water before you can power and steer the boat again. If you see any dark areas on the bottom of the ocean, they are most likely seagrass beds, and they are vital to our environment and serve as the food sources for many aquatic animals. Never drive across the grass bed in shallow water, as damage to a grass bed is permanent, and there are serious fines for damaging them. Now, before you embark on your beach weekend adventure, don't forget to visit the marina store. From ice drinks to fill your cooler to water floats, toys, and sunglasses, everything you need for a fun-filled day on the water can be purchased at the Beach Weekend Marina store. And remember, our Beach Weekend staff is dedicated to making your day the best day ever, so don't forget to let them know how much you appreciate them. Now that we've reached the end of our safety video, make sure your cooler is full and get ready to enjoy your beach weekend.